James for Hire.
Welcome back to James for Hire. I'm Matthew Perry, and after a few days of reflecting, I finally feel like I can make a solid video on this. Masahiro Tanaka is heading back to Japan. He has signed a 2-year contract with the Rakuten Golden Eagles, the team he played for previously before the New York Yankees. And as many of you know, Masahiro Tanaka is my favorite player. I moved this back here so you guys could see it. And yeah, so I just figured I would give my take on the transaction and how I feel about Masahiro Tanaka's departure from the Bronx. So when Tanaka was posted to sign with an MLB team back in 2014, I was in 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade, and obviously still a really big baseball fan. And I was really, really excited about Masahiro Tanaka coming to the MLB. I really wanted him to sign with the Yankees. MLB Network was covering it quite a bit. Of course, he is a star in Japan. Won plenty of awards. His final season in Japan, he went 24-0. And I know wins and losses aren't typically considered an important stat nowadays. We see Jacob deGrom have a pretty bad win-loss record every year and still win Cy Youngs. But for me, win losses, I don't know, it's something nice to look at least. And you could definitely tell his impact in Japan with the Golden Eagles. His ERA was also pretty low as well. I don't have that off the top of my head. But yeah, this guy was a star, and I knew he was going to be a star. And there was nothing I wanted more than for the Yankees to sign him. I was lucky enough that they did. And look, it looked like I had a new favorite player on my hands. And, you know, years later, he still is my favorite player. Many of my friends in school were like, it's not going to be the same. Japan is a much easier competition than MLB and different talent. And I'm like, yeah, of course. I don't expect him to have a 24-0 season in MLB. I mean, of course, that would be amazing and something no one's ever done before. But, you know, I expected him to be a star, be a quality pitcher. And I think he was. I think you can ask any Yankees fan. He delivered whenever we needed him to, really, for the most part. And he did everything that the Yankees really needed him to. The worst part is that the Yankees were never able to give him a ring. Obviously, we felt cheated out of a World Series appearance with the Astros and the whole trash can gate, call it what you want, the signals. We cheated out of that. And then a few years we just came up short. And last season includes that. DJ LeMahieu said it himself in the press conference, you know, he didn't think the best team won when it comes to us and the Rays, the Yankees and the Rays. And somewhat I agree. I partially agree, obviously. But taking a look at Tanaka's career, he started in 2014, made his MLB debut against the Blue Jays. He was impressive in that. And from there, I mean, the city fell in love with him. He had plenty of funny moments, wholesome moments, several different big games. I mean, his postseason ERA is one of the lowest of all time. It's under 2 for sure. You know, games against the Astros, games against Cleveland when we needed him most, 2017, 2018. You know, these were big moments, and no one really stepped up for the Yankees pitching-wise besides Tanaka. I mean, this was past CC's prime with the Yankees, of course, and CC struggled during these times, so they needed someone to pick it up, and Tanaka was that guy for the most part. He was an all-star in 2015. He played what seemed like a couple of seasons with a partially torn UCL in his elbow. He had to have surgery with that. He lost a couple miles off his fastball. He had some splitter issues towards the end of his Yankee career. Definitely lost a bit of that split that it had, but still, I mean, nothing shied me away from being one of his biggest fans. I remember one of the games I was at. I was with a couple of my friends. We were up in the party deck at Tropicana Field, and what a performance! Tanaka, complete game shutout. Yankees win. He had double digits in strikeouts. Probably one of the best games I've seen. I love games where pitching kind of comes first. I mean, I love a good home run, but seeing a pitcher put on a masterful performance like that makes me very happy to see. And I believe that was also the game where John Sterling had the radio call, "The sun will come out, Tanaka, bet your bottom dollar with Tanaka." and so on. But yeah, that's iconic. That might have been a little cringy for me to do, but very iconic moment, and one that will stay with Tanaka when you remember his Yankees career. And another big moment, also at Tropicana Field. I believe this was before that game, a couple of years before even. So I went to the Yankee game against the Rays, and I did that quite often. I'd go with my grandparents. It was a usual thing, nothing special. But I'm very into autographs. I have plenty. I have quite the collection. And before games, I'd arrive very early to go down to by the dugouts, by where they warm up, by the wall, and try to get autographs. So it's a 1 o'clock game. I'm there maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock. I like to be early. And I'm walking to my seats, which were on the third base side at Tropicana Field, where the Yankees dugout is. And as I'm passing each section opening, I'm seeing that there's a crowd down there and there's somebody signing. So I'm like, all right, guess I got to go hustle. I hustle down there. I make my way in there. As I get closer, I notice, I'm like, oh my God, is this him? Is it Tanaka? And this is rare because pitchers don't typically sign as often as hitters do. I don't know what it is exactly, but they definitely don't pitch. I mean, they definitely don't sign on days they're starting, obviously. And then overall, they're really not out there as much as the hitters are, because the hitters have to warm up before the game. Most of the pitchers on the roster aren't used in a game, so they don't really warm up. They're not usually out there, but this was an exception. I'm very lucky. It was Tanaka. I was also maybe like 15, 16 at the time. I was able to weasel my way through the crowd, get in there. That jersey was on my back. I had a baseball. Actually, I can get this for you now. This is the ball. Based on the lighting, I was able to get the ball signed. I turned around. I mean, this was very nice of him because there were plenty of other people. I turned around, and obviously with the language barrier, it could be tough. I pointed. I'm like, "Can you sign my jersey?" He signs it. Perfect. Honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better situation. This was, before Masahiro Tanaka, Derek Jeter was my favorite active player. Jeter's obviously still one of my favorite players of all time, but it was Jeter, and I'd never got an opportunity to have an interaction with him, unfortunately. Closest I got was when he threw a ball up over the dugout, and we were close, but we didn't get it, my sister and I. But yeah, I mean, I never got the opportunity to have an interaction like that with Jeter. So getting the opportunity with Tanaka, wow. I mean, it was such a gratifying feeling. There are few feelings that I've experienced uh, in my life that have came close to this. I mean, I was shaking after the fact. I was in absolute disbelief that I was able to get my favorite player's autograph, my jersey, and the ball. I mean, perfect best case scenario. I don't remember how the game went, because the true highlight of that day was getting Masahiro Tanaka's autograph. And I hope he knows the impact he had on the fans and how much he means to us, because really, there have been few players on the Yankees the past, since Jeter retired, maybe, that have been a true fan favorite and someone that they could really root for. Other ones I could think of is maybe Gardner, that are truly beloved by the fan base. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely crushing to have Tanaka go. I've never had a favorite player really leave my team. Steven Stamkos is still on the Lightning. I don't see him leaving ever. Jeter never left the Yankees. Kobe Bryant, obviously, besides the beginning of the career when he got traded, he was a Laker pretty much his entire career, besides the Hornets thing. I haven't really had to deal with this, and it's a new feeling. It sucks, obviously, it's tough, but I do understand that it was best for business. The Yankees were able to sign Corey Kluber and trade for Jamison Tyon. The rotation looks good. Do I think it would look better with Tanaka? Yeah, sure, but obviously budget constraints have made that not possible. Luckily, Tanaka has an option after the first year of his 2-year deal with the Golden Eagles in Japan, where he can come back to the United States and MLB. We don't know where the Yankees will be at in a year, but I wouldn't mind the Yankees bringing him back. He would be, I want to say 32, 33 when he comes back after the first year, if he comes back. And I would obviously welcome that addition. I think many Yankee fans would, because I still think he has something in the tank. He's had his ups and downs with the Yankees, but more often than not, he came through when we needed him. So, yeah, I mean, it's a guy that means so much to me. As a pitcher, I was a pitcher in baseball. As someone I've idolized really since Jeter's retirement and all that. You kind of need someone to root for, and anyone that knows me knows how big of a fan I am of Masahiro Tanaka. Uh, his name is in my PlayStation gamer tag. I have several of his shirts. I have posters. I have everything you can imagine, and just in the end, thank you, Masahiro Tanaka. Thank you for all you've done for the Yankees, for New York, for the joy you've brought me and all the other fans out there that have had interactions with you. You're a treasure and you should be treated as such. And I really, really hope things go well in Japan. And if you want to come back in a year, my arms are wide open. Like, you know, anytime you're welcome to come back to the Yankees. But yeah, so I just wanted to share my thoughts on all that and how I felt. Took me a couple of days. I've been busy with some stuff, but I'm glad I was able to make the time for this. And yeah, the Yankees will move forward without Masahiro Tanaka. The end of an era in New York. We currently don't have a Japanese player. We had Hideki Matsui, we had Hiroki Kuroda, now and Ichiro for a little bit, and then we went to Tanaka. It's been a staple really for quite some time since 2003, since the beginning of Matsui's career. So we'll see what the next Japanese phenom brings. Hopefully, Tanaka can come back in a little bit, but for now, I've been Matthew Perry for GMs for Hire, and I'll see you next time.